pop that champagne and roll up a joint, because WOAF is turning 1 this week, and damn it, we deserve to be celebrated. We've flawlessly and effortlessly kept this podcast horse train on the tracks for a full year now. So to commemorate our ginormous ADHD accomplishment, we're spending this episode doing a year in review. We're looking back at how far we've come, what we've learned so far, favorite episodes, all the ways this podcast has changed us, and all the ways it hasn't. Plus, we puddle jump from one silly segment to the next as Kristin dives thighs first into a new cult lifestyle, Grace longs for the simpler days of a bowl cut, and we both share Spanish class trip pizza secrets that live in our middle school hearts forever. What started as a way to spite our enemies has blossomed into a somewhat legitimate ADHD podcast with a loyal fan base of fellow weirdos who support us in our ongoing mission to spite our enemies. And how beautiful is that? Come celebrate a year of WOAF in this chaotic but well-meaning look-backisode. We couldn't have made it here without you. Well, most of you.
They said that we'd grow out of it. Well, the joke's on them, that's just our brains. We're eccentric, loud, and stubborn, and most of our clothing is covered in stains. It's not a deficit of attention, there's just too much to think about. So if executive dysfunction becomes a little too much, if you forgot why you came in this room, or you're hypersensitive to touch, then put on your seamless socks and come join our little flock. Bitches stimming together, we're weirds of a feather, weirds of a feather.
All right, I guess we sound good. And I guess we're kind of ready to go.
Oh, shoot. All right, here's my warm-up question.
Oh, okay.
And this is more of like an opinion / question.
Okay.
A quipinion.
Well, I mean, there are questions that are asking for your opinion, so
okay.
I think it's just a question.
A question on your opinion is, what are your thoughts on encores?
I don't love them.
I don't either.
Okay, all right, let's wrap it up. We've seen
it.
Unless it's like a show, like a music show where they save like one of the best songs for the encore, because there are a lot of people performing know that there's going to be a call for an encore,
right? So
they'll save like one or two really great songs that people love for the encore. And in that case, I do love the encore, but only because it's the songs that I wanted to hear anyways. So if they would just put them in the regular show,
right.
Like, why do they need us to be like, no, we need more of your music? That's what it feels like.
100% agree, because I feel like, now they're just like begging for attention. Like, I paid money to see a certain program, and I expect certain songs to be in the program. I don't want to have to beg you for you to come back out so you can play, either a song I already heard one more time, or like probably your best song. Like, I shouldn't have to beg you to come back out on stage. That's your job. I paid money for you to do this one thing.
I agree. And I think it's kind of lame that that's like a planned thing.
Yeah.
It's not even like, oh, well, this naturally came up and people are demanding more. So what else can we pull out of our back pocket? That's one thing. Right. But if it's like, this is obviously a scheduled thing because otherwise you definitely would have played this song in the regular show. That to me is like, it feels just kind of lame, honestly.
Yeah.
What if no one calls for an encore?
Right.
I would love to see that happen.
I'm satisfied with this performance and I'm going to go home.
That's enough. Yeah.
And I feel like when they do like double encores, and I'm like, all right. No one's that good.
Yeah, I agree.
You're not Mozart, okay? You're not reinventing the wheel.
Even Mozart, I'm like, at 11 p.m., I'm ready to go home, Mozart. Let's wrap this up. I don't need a double encore.
All right. I'm glad we settled this, because it's been bothering me. As a coworker of mine went to a concert and she's like, oh, and the encore was so good. And I'm like, by the time they get to the encore, I'm just like annoyed more than anything.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm usually ready to go home.
Yep.
Or once again, I'm excited to hear this song, but why couldn't you just plan this into the night? Why do you need to plan a point in the night where the crowd will demand you come back on stage, and then that's when you play the song that I love?
Doesn't it seem silly that you're like, okay, we're done. Just kidding. You just have to clap for us.
What's that? You want to hear more of my talent?
Right.
I guess if you need it, I guess I have to.
I have to come back.
Yeah, it just feels like kind of joining a frat where you're like paying for love, paying for friendships.
Right.
It feels very much like you scheduled this in so then people would demand, like, chant for you to come back.
We have to
so
plan
then you can
for
feel special.
The musical group to go off stage, for the crowd to applaud, and then for them to go right.
You know what it is? It's a PEMDAS. They have their performing PEMDAS, and I don't like it.
I don't like that PEMDAS.
I don't like. Let's change that PEMDAS.
Change the music world. No more encores,
unless it's spontaneous. But then,
unless it's like a really good performance.
Yes, like
has to be like exceptionally good.
Yes, like I went to that when Mumford and Sons came and played here in Portland like years and years ago, and it was like 7 different bands were playing, and they had a bunch of different stages going, and then at one point I think there was like a call for an encore, and like members from all the other bands came on stage, and they all played together. That was really cool.
That's cool.
It was like Dawes was there. I can't remember who else, but it was fun, and they did like a song that didn't belong to any of them. So then it was like a fun, they're all joining in and playing different instruments, and everyone's singing.
To, like,
and
practice that together. That's really cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was cool.
That's appropriate.
If it's something fun like that, I will approve of an encore. But yeah, if it's just like a band that has this scheduled in thing where they're going to come back, I don't like it.
No, thank you.
All right. That was a good warm-up question. Yeah. I didn't know I was so passionate about encores.
Yeah.
And
well,
that you
I just
were
think the thought of them is silly, but
I agree.
I feel validated.
I do as well. All right, welcome to Weirds of a Feather, an ADHD-adjacent podcast. I'm your host, Grace.
And I'm your host, Kristin.
And we hate encores.
That's our stance.
Although, now that we're saying this, we're kind of digging ourselves in a hole. Because what happens if we ever do a live show? I don't know what people would be screaming for an encore.
What are they going to...
Well, what if someone does now that they hear this episode? They're like,
I don't think they're going to be screaming for an encore.
What if they do, though?
I'm not going out.
Just like how musicians should plan for what if no one screams for an encore? What do you do? Yeah. We should plan for what if someone does call for an encore.
Here's a call to action. If we ever do a live show, which should be many, many years in the future.
Well, not that many.
It will be in the future.
Yeah, some point in the future.
Once we're done, we're done.
Yeah, we're already.
We can't do an encore. If we ever do a live show, you know what I'm doing immediately after is I'm going to sleep immediately after.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think some shows might be fun to.
What are we going to encore about?
Well, I'm not necessarily thinking about the encore part. I'm just thinking about like hanging out after the show.
Oh yeah, that might actually. I would love to meet our fans. Cool,
I would like to. Go out to a bar or whatever, maybe some nights.
Have like a meet and greet with the listeners.
Yeah.
That would be really cute.
Yeah.
Really
little hangout.
That would
but
be nice.
Don't you dare call for an encore no, here's what we do. Oh. Flip it on them. They call for an encore. We do Potter's Potties 7 times in a row. Potter's Potties.
That's what you get.
You asked for this, bitches.
Not bitches. But
bitches in a loving term. Yeah. If you're going to call for an encore for us, you are bitches.
People don't do that for a podcast.
Well, that's what would be so funny about it. Now I'm just planting ideas in people's heads. Because now you know it's going to happen. What if we just came out and did another full hour and a half of a podcast? They call for an encore and we just come out and do a whole other episode.
I got to get the babysitter here.
Yeah, we just wanted to hear like Chef Santa one more time.
One more time for Chef Santa.
All right.
I would do Chef Santa again. Because that's my favorite song.
Ugh, people would hate it.
I know. We took a poll. They would.
Oh, did they? Yeah. What was
it? Was the most annoying.
Yeah.
More so than Potter's Potties. I think.
I was surprised by that because Ian hates Potter's Potties more than any of them. But I guess everyone else hates the Chef Santa.
Yeah. I'll probably re-poll that because I just don't believe it in my hearts of hearts.
I believe it. I guess they're not saying that they hate Chef Santa. They're just saying it's more annoying than Potter's Potties. And I guess also we sing Chef Santa a lot more than we sung Potter's Potties.
We sang Potter's Potties once, and once was enough.
Yes, whereas Ian and Christopher get it all the time.
Very true.
Constantly.
Very true.
Potter's Potties. Potter's Potties. It's just that. So stupid. All right, Kristin, what are we doing today? What's going on?
Well, today's a special day, ladies and gentlemen. it's a special day where did you know, fun fact, it's been about approximately 1 year since the release of our first episode.
That's right. We have been podcasting for a year tomorrow when this episode comes out.
And it feels like more.
Yes, it feels like 1,000 years. When this episode comes out, this will come out on October 27th, and our 1 year is October 28th.
Yep.
So can you believe that we've been doing this for a year?
No. I mean, sometimes I feel like we've been doing this for a lot longer than that. And then sometimes I feel like, oh no, we've just been doing it for a couple months. Yeah. Just for a couple months. But
yeah, I feel like sometimes I'll just kind of have a moment where I'll be like, holy shit, I have a podcast.
Right. I guess when you think about it, it's like right now it's like into my daily life. When it first came out, I was like, I'm so excited, but now I'm scared. And now it's just like, yeah, this is my thing that I do with a person.
With a person.
With my person.
Oh, yeah, I feel the same way where when we started, oh my God, after I would release every episode, I would be up all night. I couldn't sleep. I'd just be replaying the whole episode in my head and be like, what, did I say something stupid? Does that sound okay? And now I just I sleep like a baby.
Good.
Wake up screaming and crying every 3 hours. That was my dad's joke.
Steve.
But yeah, now I just release them and I'm like, well, it is what it is.
I hope everybody likes it.
If not, they can piss right off.
Right.
So yeah, I do feel like we've come a long way. And so today in our episode, in honor of a year in review, we are going to, instead of hobby collectors, we're going to talk about this past year of podcasting, kind of what we've learned about ourselves.
Reflections.
What have been our favorite parts, the hardest parts. Yeah, we'll do a little reflecting.
The laughs we've laughed, the tears we've cried, the mouth sounds we've made.
Mouth sounds I've edited out. All of it. Yeah, we're going to recap all of it in what should be hobby collectors. But until we get into that, Kristin, should we start with a little This Is Who I Am Now?
Yeah. Can you tell me how the song goes?
Oh, we'll play Enya's song here, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So you don't even have to remember the song. Isn't that
good
nice?
Thing, because I didn't.
Thank God. All right. This one's coming at you from our friend Enya.
This time it's different. I could never get bored of this. Shut up and let me talk about why this is who I am now. Who I am now.
All right, Kristin, please tell me, how are you now?
I'm joining a cult.
Woo! I'll put in a cheer sound effect here.
I'm joining it.
Congratulations. What cult have you chosen to pledge?
So it is I'm in the process of trialing a trial for Peloton, the Peloton app, as recommended by one of my neurotypical friends / listener, Gabriella. Thank you.
Hey, Gab.
Thanks for your free trial, 60 days. But I do like it because there's so many different exercises. So I'm hoping I won't get bored. So the blood sacrifices next week. We each bring a little bit, but you
got a lot of blood. I think you'll be okay.
I'm used to a lot of blood. That's kind of like my career work. So
you've been training for this.
Yeah. So I think it's I think I'll be all right. And then we get the special robes, and we get the textbook. And then you have to donate your soul to the Peloton god, Pelotono.
Yep.
And swear that you will, once your soul has left your body, you will soul cycle your way to the realm of Pelotono.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that journey.
Yeah. That all seems legit.
Yep.
I don't have any concerns.
Let me, other Pelotoners, let me know how your blood sacrifice went.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're going to have some strong thighs, that's for sure.
Yep. No, I don't have the bike. I'm just trialing the app.
But you're going to get the bike, right?
I'll probably get the bike. I'm thinking, I keep hemming and hawing about it.
You can't join the cult without getting the bike.
I know.
You can't just have a free app of Peloton. You got to commit to this cult.
I know. I got to commit to the cult. I know.
Just in or out, Kristin, in or out,
I got to go in. I got to go Thighs in.
Yep, thighs in. Cults aren't for pussyfooting,
Right.
you know? You need a strong commitment.
Yeah. Anyway. Grace.
Yes.
Who are you now?
I am a big Elvis fan.
Oh, last week it was Willie.
Yes, the other week I was going through a Willie phase.
Willie fan phase.
Willie fan phase.
Now you're in an Elvis fan phase.
Now I'm in a hard Elvis phase.
Nice. I don't think that's a bad phase.
No, it's not. I'm really enjoying it. Ian and I are both very deep into this Elvis phase. And that's
the
nice.
bell bottoms look nice on you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Got my hair slicked back.
Yeah, sequins is a good look for you.
Oh, thank you, Mama. But Ian and I, we finally finished the Elvis biopic that is over 2 hours long. We watched it in chunks.
Oh my God. How'd you sit through that?
We didn't. We watched it in chunks. We watched it like a show. I think we watched it in 3 parts because it was like 2.5 hours. But
that's okay.
It's too long. I know.
It's too long. Movies, I feel like, and do I sound like my dad saying this? Yes. Movies are getting too long. Even
they've been too long.
They've been too long. They're getting too long. How Endgame for the Marvel superhero things? It's like 2.5 hours. No superhero movie should be that long. I do not care enough. Did I watch it? Sure. Did it take everything to watch it? Yeah, it did. It took a little piece of my soul that I can't give to Pelotano.
Damn it. See, I don't care about those movies, and I like movies where you can break it up and kind of watch it separately because I'm not going to sit down for 2.5 hours and watch this movie.
How can you?
I don't know. Maybe you don't have ADHD.
Yeah. How long was Titanic?
Like 2 hours long.
I remember that being okay. I have this very vivid memory of you and Haley watching Titanic on VHS.
Yep, the 2 tapes.
And then I was like, oh man, okay, this Titanic sank, and you're like, now for movie 2, and I'm like, no.
Well, there was because it was broken up into 2 different VHS
tapes. You couldn't fit it all.
For a while, I was only allowed to watch the first tape because the second tape is filled with the sinking and the death. And so, in my mind, I'm like, this is a fun story about love.
And they all die at the end.
Yeah, but if you don't watch the second one, you're just, what a fun story.
Yeah, but doesn't the first one end when they just hit the iceberg?
Yes, but you can tell yourself a story in your head that it all worked out okay in the end. What a whirlwind romance that was. My favorite rom-com. The first tape of Titanic. All right, anyways, back to Elvis. Let me finish this. Ian and I both really enjoyed the Elvis biopic. There's just... Elvis's story is a lot more tragic than I realized, and then I think a lot of people realized, and that he was kind of turned into this big joke by his terrible manager who just saw Elvis as his meal ticket and kind of destroyed his life and his soul and will to live and made him into this money-making shell of a man who was just performing in Vegas every single night. And
that's too many nights in a row.
Yes. But I feel like, Elvis was kind of made into this tacky joke of a person, but he really wasn't. He was very talented.
Super talented.
And he had a lot of big plans of doing world tours and stuff like that. And so the sequin jumpsuits and the Elvis, what are they called when you have the Vegas residency, that really wasn't his idea. That wasn't stuff that he wanted to do. And so I feel like it just gave me a newfound respect for Elvis. It was, his story's kind of tragic. It makes me a little sad. And so, Ian and I are just going through his ginormous discography and just really enjoying some Elvis around the house.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Lovely.
And that's who I am now.
Nice.
I'm an Elvis fan through and through.
Let's go on to my So Quirky.
Yep. Some people call me spacey, some people call me fun, but I'm just quirky. It ended a little weird, but beautiful all around.
That was great. That was good. This is a good one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Good. Good. You have an angelic voice, Grace.
Thank you. I get told that all the time. People are always saying that. So feminine.
Grace, why don't you tell us your quacks?
My quacks?
Yeah.
All right. I only have a few quirks, but here are some of them. All right. 1, I love the feeling of things in between my toes.
No!
Toes. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Were you a toe sock person?
No. I don't here's what it is. I don't like cloth between my toes.
Sure.
And it's just the big toe and the second toe.
Like a flip-flop.
Yes. I specifically, this is very weird. I've had boyfriends in the past that I've tried to do this to, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? But Ian lets me, and that's how I know he's the one. I really like the feeling of putting someone's heel, the back of their heel, in between my big toe and my second toe. And you just kind of like hold it in there. I'll do it to myself sometimes, but it's not the same. It's really fun to do on someone else's like Achilles heel.
Okay. I'm going to have to try this out.
Try it. It might be a new weird thing that you do to Christopher.
Yeah.
Because I've always
He really hates his feet. He's so ticklish.
Yeah.
Can't do the feet.
He might not like that one then.
But we hold toes sometimes when we sleep.
Okay. So maybe he will like it. Kind
of like holding hands, but just
weirder.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's too hot to like cuddle, so we just hold toes.
It's not, that doesn't make it less weird. It's still weird.
I think it's cute.
I think it's cute, but weird. Yeah, try it out because it feels really good. Something about that heel.
I have socks on, but I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
This is kind of nice.
Yeah.
I think I have to try it without socks.
Yeah, try it without socks. Let me know what you think. I don't know why. I've always liked doing it. But that's one thing about me. All right. Quirk number 2.
Yeah.
My neighbor Jana, what's up, Jana? Her dog came home with a deer skull last week.
Nice.
And
did it kill the deer? Where's the rest of the deer?
Well, she texted me to see if the skull belonged to me, and it did. It was a deer skull that I had in the backyard of my parents' house, sitting in like a garden box, decomposing.
It wasn't in the pit?
No.
Not in your death bucket?
It was already like just bone.
Oh.
And I should have brought it in a little while ago and cleaned it up, but I haven't yet. I just haven't been getting around to it. And it was a skull I found like years ago. It's pretty cool, actually, deer skull. And so it was just like in the garden box in the backyard, and Willow, the dog, must have just like wandered in there.
She was
and brought it home. And Jana was like,
probably so proud of herself.
I know.
Look what I found.
And Jana,
a treasure.
I guess Willow does that sometimes, where she'll bring home like dead things or whatever.
What a nice dog.
At first, Jana was like, oh, Willow brought me a skull from the cemetery. And then she was like, wait a minute, I wonder if this is Grace's. And it was. So, yeah, her husband had to drop off my deer skull at my house.
Well, good thing you don't live too far away.
And good thing I have neighbors who know how fucking weird I am. All right, and quirk number 3.
Yeah.
You know about this one. I used to walk to school with wet hair all the time growing up, even in the winter.
In Maine.
And my hair would freeze, and then you could like crack it in half.
And break it off.
Because I couldn't be bothered to dry it, because I hate drying my hair.
Not even like towel dry. Like you would go out dripping wet hair.
Oh yeah, it'd be like soaking. I like the feeling of like cracking your hair in half when it's frozen, even though it's terrible for your hair.
That's terrible for your hair.
But I liked the action of cracking my hair more than I cared about having nice dry hair. I've never cared about my hair. I've always been so bad about my hair. I just don't care about it. Take it all. Take it. But I also don't want to buzz it. I just wish I didn't.
What about like a cute little pixie cut?
But then I still have to do stuff with it. Otherwise, it'll all look like a bowl cut.
Well, just bring
back
the bowl cut.
Hey, I might bring back the bowl cut because I miss those days, simpler days.
I think your hair looks fine now.
Yeah, it looks fine. I just don't care about it. I don't dry it. I still don't dry it to this day.
You don't dry it. You do need to deep condition, and we've talked about this before. I do deep condition it.
I just don't like style it.
No, you don't have to. Just style it.
Well, good, because I won't.
You're seeing like on a special occasion.
Even then, I'm
set the standard so low that when you do something like brush it, people are like, "Wow,
you brush your hair."
Hey, just don't get a mat. Sometimes I get little mats in the back of my hair because it's so curly. Not so curly. It's curly, and then I can't be bothered to brush it out.
That's what I'm saying. Just hair. Who needs it?
Yeah, but yours doesn't mat.
It can. It will if I go.
Have you ever been late to work because you had a mat in the back of your head that you had to get? Oh, here's
no,
one of my
I'll probably just go to work. Put it up in a bun.
It's part of the style.
Yeah, just throw it in a bun. No one can tell. All right, Kristin, what are your quirks?
Numero uno.
Yeah.
I recently went on a trip, and when I booked the flight, I had to book the same flight twice because I forgot to hit confirm. I was just like there. I was like, got it. And then I just left. I shut my computer and like didn't hit confirm. And then like a day later, I'm like, I wonder why I didn't get an email confirming the flight. Well,
good thing at least paid attention enough to that.
Yeah.
Because I could also see you be like, and it's all set.
And it's all set the day before.
Yeah. That would be devastating.
Yeah. I'm not a good flyer.
No, you're not. You're a very anxious flyer.
I have a funny story about that, but maybe I'll save it.
Okay. Yes.
No time. There's no time.
There's no time.
On to the quirks.
All right.
Well, on this said vacation where I almost didn't book my flight because I forgot to hit confirm.
Yep.
I was like in a group of people. We were getting dinner and definitely called someone by the wrong name twice in a row. It was very close.
A real Peter Paul situation.
It was a real Peter Paul. It was another Peter Paul situation. Because it was, I forget, his name was Eli, and I can't remember if I called him Eric or Evan, but I was close.
Did he? Yeah, close is what matters.
Didn't even call me out on it, and he's like, "Yep,
that's my name."
Yep. So Eli, Evan, Eric, I'm really sorry that I don't know your name.
You got the gist of it.
I'm like, I was so close. There was an E somewhere.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And here's a weird one. The day Christopher asked if he could fart in front of me means more to me than the day he told me he loved me.
I don't even know what to say about that one.
I would say actions speak well louder than words. No, it's just the fact that he like felt comfortable to like literally let his guard down.
Oh, that's
kind of
romantic.
I tell my cat I love him. My cats, I love them every day.
But you don't really mean it, so you know how empty those words are.
Well, I just feel like I mean it, but like they don't know that I mean it. I could just, I could just be saying words.
Okay.
You gotta show me your love. And he did with a big old fart.
And you were like, thank you.
Yeah, I returned the favor.
Oh, okay. Cute, I guess.
Big stinky love.
All right. Here's another quirk for both of us.
Yeah.
That will come in handy right now. One quirk about us is that we just stopped doing transitions like 6 months ago.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We were doing a bunch of transitions.
Honest to goodness, forgot that transitions were a thing one time.
We were so dedicated to them. Every single episode, we would always have weird, awkward transitions. And then one day we literally just stopped.
Yeah.
And never remembered about them again. Which, like, what the fuck? How did we do that?
That was like our signature move.
They were such a big part of the podcast.
Right.
I literally forgot. I just forgot we did them.
I guess I have to go back and listen to the older episodes because we were, I think there was one episode we had like 3 transitions.
Yeah. And now none. And what do you think the listeners are feeling about that? They're probably angry.
Yeah. Hurt.
Yeah.
That's probably why we got that 1-star review.
Oh, yeah. You guys really dropped off on the transitions and we're upset. We need more awkward
transitions.
This podcast isn't awkward enough for me. 1 star. And with that said, Kristin, shall we transition?
I think we shall.
Into the next seg.
We should.
What should we do for this transition?
Well, that you gave it so much hype. Now I'm at a loss of what to do.
That's the problem. Here's a transition. We forgot about it for a while, but now it's back, and aren't you just so happy? We're transitioning, and it is happening
right now. Ba-bum. All right, that was a lovely transition. Thank you so much, Grace.
Yeah, thank you.
So now that we've transitioned, we've gone into the wet and out of the wet successfully.
Yep. Now we're getting back into that wet?
Into a different wet.
Okay. So kind of like hopping out of one bath.
A puddle into a puddle.
Okay. I like
puddle,
bath.
sidewalk, puddle.
Okay.
Boop.
Puddle, sidewalk, puddle.
Different puddle, though. They're separated.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not the same puddle.
Different puddle.
Bigger, better wet. Puddle. Just as wet, but more fun.
This will be a fun puddle to play in because...
We're talking about we're doing a reflection. We're reflecting. We're not really doing a hobby collectors this episode because we want to reflect.
We're doing a year in review.
Yeah.
A year of WOAF.
A year of WOAF. How it's changed us. How we haven't changed. Yeah. That's more importantly.
How we've done nothing to improve ourselves.
Nothing. We've gained no further knowledge.
Yep.
And also lost no further knowledge.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And let's talk about it.
Yeah. Has it been a year? Yeah, it has. Like we said earlier, October 28th, 2001 is when we've...
No. 2021.
21. Damn it.
2001.
Yeah, what a year.
When the towers dropped, we got on the mic. We said the world needs to hear our 11-year-old voices. And we just haven't stopped.
Yeah. God.
No. Sorry to make a 9/11 reference.
I'm sorry.
But you said 2001, so.
I'm sorry. 2021, we released our first episode. It's been about a year. Holy moly.
Can you believe it? Can you believe we've been doing this for a year?
No. Kind of. Almost. It feels appropriate.
It feels right.
It feels like about a year. I guess, I don't know. I feel like 2021 was like such a blur to me because we were all almost out of COVID, but then not.
Yeah.
And then a lot of other things happened. And then also this happened.
Yep. And more things
And then
happened.
more things continue to happen.
And now we're here.
It's
been a year.
Yeah. So I guess my question to you, Grace, is do you like doing this podcast?
Nah. I'm getting kind of cool on it.
It's a job.
Yeah, I'll just show up and come to work.
Don't get paid for.
Yeah, I'm kind of quiet quitting. I don't know if you've noticed. Yes, I love doing this podcast, Kristin, and it has been such a fun year. I feel
it has been a really fun year.
Learned a lot.
I have. I know I said that I haven't learned a lot, but I know I have.
We both learned a lot. We haven't gotten into like a single fight.
No,
right?
I don't think so.
I mean, we don't really fight because I feel like we will just bicker it out. Like I feel like we don't.
You know what? We both like to recreational argue.
Yes.
And I think that's how we solve most of our arguments.
Yeah.
We do it for fun.
Yeah, we act like
Funsies.
Just like with my fight with Carrie. It's like, haha, we're kind of joking, but this is actually serious.
Yeah, except we're never serious. I think that's, how can you be serious when you never are?
That's very true. So wise.
So, but maybe, I mean, I wouldn't put it past us to get in a big fight about nothing. It's going to be about something stupid about like penguins or something. Not saying that penguins are stupid, but some sort of like.
I think they are stupid and I want to fight about it.
This is it. This is our downfall.
Here it comes. No, I would say literally the only disagreement we've had that wasn't even a disagreement because I was like, what about this idea? And you were like, I don't know about that idea. And then later you were like, you know what? I think that was a good idea.
About splitting our episodes up into two?
Yeah, about splitting our guest episodes up especially because they were just so long for me to edit. And I was like, what if we split this up into two parts?
And I can't even realize, like, I can't even imagine, like, what was my argument against it? I don't know. It was just me being dumb.
Here's what I think it was, and this is what I saw it as. I think you probably have the subconscious idea that people don't want to listen to you talking, that you're not interesting enough and that people don't want to listen to you talking. So why would people want to listen to two parts of a guest episode? Like, I just saw it very much as tied into like, well, I don't know if people would want to listen to that, you know?
Yeah. Turns out they don't have a choice.
And turns out they like the guest episodes.
Yeah.
People say that they love the guest episodes.
That being said, we should probably have more guests on.
Yes. And we'll talk about it in a little bit. But when we talk about goals for the upcoming next year of WOAF, one of mine is to have more guests on.
WOAF year 2.
Yes. But for now, before we get there, we're talking about
our
biggest accomplishments.
Biggest accomplishments. So, Grace, what do you think your biggest accomplishments with this podcast is?
I think my biggest accomplishment in the last year, I mean, being brave enough to actually release a podcast and then like continue to release episodes. I think that's a big accomplishment. I think it takes a lot of bravery, honestly, to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed that we were brave enough to do that because it is scary when you first release it and, you know, all those thoughts of like, who would want to listen to this?
Especially our first episode where it's like, here's some intimate details about my life.
Yeah. Let me tell you about my failures.
Yeah. I also think going off like being brave enough to start a podcast, how about being brave enough to like take on like all this stuff, not me, but you had to learn like how to do a podcast, how to edit, how to, what a transfusion box is. What's the red box? I don't know what a
transfusion box is.
What's that box called?
Oh,
Transformer.
Interface. You were really close.
So close.
Yeah, that was really scary, actually.
We had to go to Guitar Center twice.
Multiple times. We had like getting, you know, we had Christopher do the artwork and stuff. Yeah, just like getting set up and then actually like, I guess, committing to it, you know? Yeah.
That was another big thing as people who like to start things and not finish them or get distracted and never come back to them.
Yeah, this was like the most I've committed to anything ever.
I know.
I've never been so dedicated to something.
Right. Other than like
my marriage, I guess.
Yeah, my career.
But it doesn't take this much work.
Right.
Yeah, I guess with the bravery of like starting it, you're right. It wasn't just the bravery of now I'm going to let people hear my intimate thoughts that I've recorded.
Right.
But also the whole thing kind of hinges on me being able to edit this podcast that I don't actually know how to do first.
I think you're doing just fine.
I know. But when we started, it was like if we had started and recorded an episode and then it was like, well, I can't figure this out. Yeah. That would have been the end of it. Yeah. So I guess there's also an aspect of I'm kind of taking this on as like I have to learn how to sound edit and I'm going to have to do this every single week. Right. And I didn't put too much thought into it. I was just like, I'll figure it out. And I have.
And you did. You're doing a great
Look
job.
At me. Last minute grace strikes again.
So like committing to it, to the release, but also committing to come back every week and, you know, have episodes written or writing them last minute and doing the research and, you know, showing up, I guess. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
You know, we've had in the last year, we've only had like maybe a couple times where the episode didn't come out on time or we had to skip a week, like unplanned. Yeah. Skipping a week because I just, you know, was not able to get everything out on time. But
and that's also because we don't have a
yeah, if we had a sound editor.
It's like legit just us. It was really funny. You might have heard our last episode. Would it be the last?
It'll be a few episodes back.
A few episodes back, we did like a ad share with the podcast Overtired. And when they were reaching out to us, they're like, have your team contact us. And I'm like, this is it. This is the team.
Yeah, we'll get our team right on that. Let me gather us together.
We'll have a meeting about it.
A team meeting.
Team meeting. It's a text conversation among TikToks that we're sharing with each other.
It's just us.
Yep.
Yeah, if we had a sound editor, that would change a lot of things because I'm so sick of the sound editing.
I'm sorry.
It's still bad, but it's getting a little better, and
I think you're doing great.
Thank you. It's more so how much time it takes me. It just takes me such a long amount of time, and I feel like someone could do it much more efficiently than I do. But it is what it is right now. But I do see in the next year, I see us getting, you know, some kind of sound editor to help us with that. And I think that'll help out because
then we can like focus more on like forwarding the podcast. So like more guests, more things, more goals that we'll talk about later.
Yes. Yeah. It'll help us grow. Oh, another thing that I think is an accomplishment. Well, I feel less self-conscious about my voice and what I say and how I say it. I think for this first few months, I was very much like just constantly overanalyzing and, you know, thinking about what I was saying way too much. Like, who cares? And then like pushing through the lulls of getting overwhelmed by this podcast. There have been, you know, a couple times like in the spring where I was just like, this is so much editing. I need to take a little break. But then to come back from that break and continue on. And now we're still doing it.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, I think that's great because I do love to abandon things as soon as they get hard.
Yeah, same here.
And yet here we are.
And it's been difficult, which would lead us into our big hurdles that we've had to overcome.
Yes.
My biggest one is like dealing with the time management. So we record this. I work for 10 is relevant, 10-ish hours a week plus call, which can be many more hours.
Yeah, you work a lot.
I work a lot, but I have Mondays off. And so we record and we research on Mondays. And so I've had to, in the past, I've had like, oh, here's this extra day to like, you know, dentist appointment, doctor's appointment, get my groceries done, meal prep and all that stuff. And I just have to, I am slowly but surely learning how to manage my time a little bit better because now I am busier, especially with new life changes like owning a home, having 2 more cats than I started with at the beginning of the year and going from there.
Yeah, that's right. When we started this podcast, you and Kristin didn't even live together.
No.
And now you have a house together and you got 3 cats total living in that house.
Yeah, we moved quickly for sure. Yeah, we have a house and yeah, it's been a lot of like personal changes and growth and also professional. I am continuing to work on my time management, but it's definitely something I've had to really overcome. And I treat like this day that we have for recording or something as a work day. And I just call it to everybody like, oh, but I just call it my second job.
I mean, it is.
It is. And if I tell myself that, then I like put the time away to do that, you know? because I do treat it as a second job. It just happens to be a job that I very much enjoy, but I don't get any money to pay to do the thing. But that's okay because I do it regardless of the amount of pay.
We do it for the love of talking into microphones.
Yes, and the love of each other.
And for the love of our listeners.
Yeah.
Because we know you guys, those of you who are listening, that you enjoy our podcast.
Yeah.
And that we're building this little community. And I feel like that's motivating for us as well, you know? That
I think, the listeners are the most motivating in like getting all that feedback and seeing you guys on the Facebook group. And like, was the other day someone said that they found that weird eye thing.
Oh, yeah. Erland syndrome. Someone else talked about how they didn't realize they were stimming so much until our stim episode. And it's just been like really reassuring and comforting that like everybody's, gaining something from this. I feel like I have purpose. And I know I work in healthcare and I should like feel like I have purpose, but sometimes it's hard. Yeah, I gotcha. I feel the same way. That the listeners have kept us going, even when it's felt a little difficult to keep going.
Yeah. I have a big hurdle.
Yeah.
This one's more of a silly one, but it's actually quite difficult. Trying to not info dump and talk about this podcast all the time while I'm at work is difficult because it's all I want to talk about.
Well, and you have coworkers that listen to it, so I'm sure people are also like asking you about it. So I'm sure it's hard to not like go and go and go and go.
Yeah, and I'm slowly figuring out who's like interested, who's feigning interest just to be a nice person, and who is absolutely not interested. So I have another PEMDAS of like it's not really a PEMDAS. It's more of an Excel spreadsheet in my head of like okay to talk about, not okay to talk about, can talk about sometimes, but don't make it the whole entire day.
Yeah, I think that's good to have in your mind.
Yeah, because not everybody, you know what I've been realizing is that to some people, I'm quite annoying and I'm okay with that. I just got to rein it in when I'm around those people.
Yeah, because or not spend time with those people if you can help it.
Yeah, well, when you're in the OR for like 6 hours with that person who doesn't enjoy you as much. I shouldn't say that. The surgeons I work with love me. They should.
They better.
I think they're just not interested in the same things as I am. Yeah. And that's okay. But it's hard because all I do is talk. I talk when I'm in the OR. Yes. I talk when I'm out of the OR. I talk on podcasts. I talk at home. I talk. But sometimes it's hard to talk when someone doesn't want to talk. So you have to learn not to talk. It's very difficult for me.
That is difficult.
Talk.
Yeah, I don't have that problem because I don't go into a workplace, but Ian will tell you that I talk about ADHD every single day. And
I know you do.
He wishes I didn't.
We talk about it all the time. I think sometimes it's hard for us to stop talking about it.
Yeah. Because for me, every single thing, because obviously it's how my brain works, so it's how I go about life. Yeah. So every single thing I encounter ties into ADHD because it's how I'm experiencing it or interpreting it or whatever. So obviously it's going to have connections to ADHD.
Sure.
That and white supremacy. Everything is tied
that one we should talk about all the time.
Everything is tied into white supremacy.
It really is.
And
capitalism.
I'm not going to stop talking about it whenever it comes up.
You shouldn't.
So just deal with it.
I'll never say no to discussing white supremacy and how it affects our everyday surroundings.
Good. All right, yeah. Kristin. What have we learned doing this podcast in the last year?
On a personal level, and maybe you agree with me, I think for a very long time, I have compared myself and tried to fit into a neurotypical world. And I think from the start of this podcast till today, I have really learned to, and maybe I can't do this every day, but a lot of days I can kind of forgive myself and learn that I don't have to fit into this world that they've constructed for themselves because I'm not going to, and kind of forgive myself for that. I'm not there are just some things that I just might not be able to do as well as others, and that's okay.
Yeah, that is okay. You have lots of other strengths.
It's okay to struggle. Yeah.
I have learned that it's okay to talk the way that we talk. And not everyone is going to hate it or get annoyed by it. In fact, some people might like the way that we talk. And if they do hate the way we talk, then they can leave because it's our podcast and just don't listen to it.
This is what it is. And I think that's our number one compliment that people say. They like our banter because we talk back and forth and interrupt each other. It's this like very fluid, flowing conversation.
Yeah.
Are we off topic? Of course we are.
Yeah, of course we are. But you like it, I guess. And
you better.
I honestly, when I listen to podcasts where they're like especially when there's like multiple hosts and they're talking like one at a time and like waiting for the other to finish, I hate it. I don't like it. I'm like, this is so boring.
Even in like, well, in everyday life, I get like so like,
I don't like,
like, are you finished? Are you, I'm like, is this the right time? What did Russ call it? Interject.
Inappropriate interject.
Do I inappropriately, is this okay out of all the times to inappropriately interject? Because it's going to happen.
Yes.
Do I do it now or should I wait later?
And I also, on the flip side, hate when I'm talking and people are just all like quietly listening and watching me and like no one's giving me any like, oh yeah, like no one's giving me any feedback visually, verbally. People are just silently watching me. Like not giving me any type of visual
like, what
feedback.
Am I on stage?
I'm like, well, I'm just going to talk. I know,
for sure.
join in here. I feel really uncomfortable. I hate that.
This is why dating is so difficult. Going back to our dating episode, because it's like this person says something and then you say, yes, here's something about me. And it's this like, I talk, now you talk, and I talk, now you talk. And that's what it's supposed to happen. And sometimes it doesn't.
Well, supposed to, according to neurotypicals, you know?
There's no like...
But that's the thing. We think of neurotypical social rules as like the standard of like, oh, well, this is how you're supposed to have a conversation.
Right.
No, that's how neurotypicals think that you should have a conversation. And just because we fall outside of that talking style doesn't mean that ours is wrong. Just like theirs doesn't mean that they're right. You know? I think there's a lot of bullshit in neurotypical conversations where they don't say what they mean. They're leaving stuff out. They're like... setting themselves up to be butthurt because they're like waiting for you to ask them a fucking question about something they want to talk about. Just talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to think to ask you about your aunt's birthday party. Just tell me about it.
I can't even remember that it was your aunt's birthday party.
I know.
I'm not going to think to remember to ask you about it.
So I just feel like my whole life, I mean, from outside, I've had a lot of different encounters of like shame about how I talk or my conversational skills are interrupting or, getting too excited, being too loud, being too passionate and aggressive about things, doing like the shouting that you and I do.
The recreational arguing, which no one does, apparently.
Yes. I feel like for most of my life, I've been made to feel like those are all wrong. People, don't talk that way. People don't like that. It's rude or it's overwhelming.
I always thought that people recreational. I am just figuring out now that people don't recreational argue.
Same. That's one that I didn't really realize until we discovered the term that I was like, oh, that's what that is.
Right.
I was always like, this is just how we talk. This is how my mom and
friendly
my sister
banter.
And I talk. Yeah.
And people are like, I'm offended. And you're like, well, fuck.
Well, actually, I remember when Ian and I first started dating, where he made multiple comments to me about how he would think that I was like attacking him because we'd have these conversations about, a social justice issue. And obviously I'm going to get fired up. I'm going to be ranting. And it took me a while to explain to him, like, I'm not ranting at you. I'm ranting about this subject with you. I thought. And whatever I say, like, I know that you're on my side. I know that you aren't the person, like, you're not the person I'm speaking to. And I thought it was weird that I'm like, why are you taking this so personally? I'm not talking about you. I'm ranting about the situation and you just happen to be here and now I'm all fired up. Well, like I'm not yelling
about another thing.
I'm not yelling at you. I thought I was yelling with you. But you're not yelling.
Please yell with me.
So yeah, that one took me a while to figure out, like, there definitely is some middle ground with that where I do need to rein in a little bit in certain situations. But overall, I feel like this podcast has been great for showing me that, like, it's okay that we talk this way.
Yeah.
And that it's
because it should be. And it is.
And it is okay. And if you don't like it, go find a boring-ass neurotypical podcast where they talk one at a time. They ask each other questions.
And we take turns.
We share airspace. No!
That's not how that works.
All right. I'm very curious about this one. And also, we definitely have to do a poll for this because I want to hear the listener answers.
Yes.
Favorite episode we've done so far and least favorite episode we've done so far.
Okay. I think we have the same least favorite episode.
Yes.
Episode 1.
Hey! It's not even my least favorite because it's bad because I just haven't listened to it again.
It's just like...
It's what I've built up in my mind.
Right. It's the very first episode. It's very long. You can tell in our voices that we're like scared.
And that it's pretty scripted.
And it's scripted, which I'm not a scripted person.
No.
I may script my behavior, but I am not a scripted person.
Yes, you need to come up with the script and then internalize the script.
But yeah, for me personally, it's hard. It's also like, here, let's talk about our trauma in the medical community. So,
yeah, it was the first one we did. It is pretty vulnerable to talk about that.
So I think it's important, but it's rough.
Russ said that he said it's fine and it's pretty good.
You know what? If Russ says that, then I believe him full-heartedly, but I'm not going to go back and listen.
No, I'll just take Russ's word for it that it's okay.
Thanks, Russ.
Thanks, Russ.
Okay, I have two favorite. I have like pre and post. Remember when we took that really long break during Mercury retrograde? Not the one that just happened, but the one before.
Yep.
And we what's it called? Realigned, reworked, reorganized our structure.
Yep. Restructured.
Pre and post restructure.
Yes.
Pre would be clam jail. I don't know why. I think it's because I get to talk about wine a lot, and I think I like listening to me.
Okay.
I'm not ashamed to say it. I
shouldn't
guess
be.
It's a topic I'm interested, so I'm like, oh yeah,
this is an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the same way with my bones, where I'm like, this is great.
How
could anyone not love this? Me talking about carcasses and buckets. I'm fascinated.
Right. And then I think post restructure would be the stimisode, the one where we talk about all our stints. I think we just got so much feedback from it. One, it was definitely like therapy, like this podcast is every week. And I felt heard, especially with like my PEMDAS, because I think talking about these things is difficult sometimes for me. Mm-hmm. But I felt heard, and I was heard because we got a lot of feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. People love that episode. They love the PH preferred hug.
Yep.
Yeah.
Grace.
Well, like
what
I said, episode 1 is like, But for me, I think 2 of my favorites, well, I was just saying this to you, Kristin, I can't tell if these episodes are like the actual content is what makes it a favorite episode of mine, or if I just think that the show notes that I wrote are very funny.
Hilarious.
I crack myself up with my show notes.
I laugh to myself at work with my headphones on.
I laugh to myself while I'm writing them. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's funny. But I think I also liked these episodes, but also the show notes were cracking me up. But I love episode 23, Filling the Void. I think that's a good one.
What's that one about again?
Oh, that was the one where I said it was a bit of a platypus that may end up being one of God's favorite creations, I think. Where we play Christopher's
that's right.
That's his hobby collectors, and then I don't know, we're just talking about a bunch of random shit.
Very random.
That's the one where I wrote the show notes with like the reviews are in and the critics can't get enough of us.
That's right.
And the one from your surgeon, I can see how some people would like it.
The best review we've ever gotten.
The whole thing, that episode makes me laugh. And then episode 20, Horse Train Meet Cute.
Yep.
Obviously, that's a classic.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
That is going to our next segment. That's my Horse Train Meet Cute. That's my favorite long-standing inside joke.
Yes, I agree.
One day we're going to write the novella.
Yes, well, that's on my list of goals for the next year.
Oh, shoot.
To get down a few chapters of this Horse Train Meet Cute. I want to legitimately write that.
Okay, I will write it with you.
Okay.
I will write it with you.
Please.
We're going to write a book. It's called Horse Train Meet Cute.
It's going to be steamy, sensual, not safe for work.
What's your favorite long-standing inside joke?
Well, obviously, I love Horse Train Meet Cute. I think that's hilarious.
Classic.
I also love Good Night, David.
Oh, yeah,
that's
right.
funny to say good night, David. We
haven't said good night to David in a very... Hey, David, if you're still awake, good night.
Good night.
I hope you have sweet dreams.
He still listens to the podcast at night as he falls asleep. So
it's really cute.
We got to remember to put it in there more often.
I know.
Yeah, I think Good Night, David is funny, and Potter's Potties.
Oh, that's right.
Not even just the ad that we did itself. The whole concept of Potter's Potties, I think is just really funny. We did some
research on that.
Yeah,
because there's a legitimate
toilet company,
a portable toilet company called Potter's Potties.
Potties with a T. Yeah,
and we didn't want Potter's Potties, our theoretical fake podcast about Harry Potter
and how J.K. Rowling is a TERF, and we rant about how much of a TERF she is.
Yep.
And how we hate her.
We didn't want that to get confused with the portable toilet company.
Yeah. Yep.
So we wrote a commercial about it.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
As one does.
I think it's weird, very on brand for us. I think the word potties is funny.
Because it is.
And yeah, I would say that's one of my favorites on top of Horse Train Meet Cute.
That's very good.
Yeah. What about, let's do your favorite part of starting a podcast?
I would say, and I'm using someone else's terminology for this. I'm paraphrasing them. Quote/paraphrase. Doing both.
Yes.
They called our podcast like a pocket of community, which I think is adorable.
It was Brooklyn.
Oh my God. I couldn't remember.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Brooke. And I think that's like the best part, because we've not knowing what we were going to get into, and we're still, our numbers grow every day. But yeah, we have made this little tiny community of people with like different social media outlets, and it's really cute to see everybody like chatting back and forth on the Facebook group and the DMs we get and the emails, and it's cute. It's adorable. I love this little community that I will say help create, because it's really the listeners who've created it.
Aw, Kristin.
I know. I'm going to need fucking tissue.
That was sweet.
It's as sweet as I come. All right.
Yeah, I love the pocket of community that we've grown. I think it's been really fun to have people like come discover it and then really relate to us, and they get excited about how they relate to us and want to send us
and we get excited because they're excited.
Yeah, we love hearing
and
about
now everybody's excited.
Yeah, and it's so fun to see the different ADHD things that we all bond over, or that are slightly different for us. And yeah, I agree. It's just been super fun to grow this little community of weirdos.
Also, I want to say one of my other favorite parts is that every week, once a week, I get not only a scheduled hangout with Grace, but I also get like a once weekly therapy session, because this is like my therapy session.
Yeah, who needs real therapy?
Who needs real therapy? Just start a podcast. Yeah,
I do like that we have these scheduled hangouts, because I am notoriously bad at making and keeping plans and making it happen.
It's hard.
Yeah, so having this thing that kind of
especially in this economy.
Oh, can you imagine? But having this thing that forces us to keep this, like,
we're forced to be friends.
Yes, forced friends by force. No, it's like, as much as I want to do something, I still have to be forced into actually doing it and making it happen. And that's what is nice, that we have a set day.
Here we go. It's Mondays.
Yeah.
We go in.
We've been doing actually a great job of keeping our days and not
scheduled,
not flaking, and
yeah, I'm actually pretty proud of us. We're both committed.
Yeah, I think we've shown ourselves a lot of strengths in being able to do this that we didn't know we had before.
Yep.
Yeah. And also another thing that is one of my favorite parts about starting this podcast, on top of all of that, is that I've gotten to work on my creative writing.
Yeah.
And that's been really fun for me.
You're a great writer.
Thank you.
I always crack up with the show notes, and you're very good at it.
I love writing the show notes. It's so much fun for me.
I love that you love writing the show notes. That means I don't have to.
Yeah.
And you're way better at it. I would be like, episode whatever. We chat about stims. Laughs made, jokes made, end.
That's genius. I mean, what have I been doing?
I know.
Just do that.
I think you're working too hard.
I think I am. You are a good writing partner, though. I will say that. I think we write well together.
I agree. I think if you have trouble getting started, I can get us started, and then you can finish, and then the opposite.
Yes. I like coming up with different like thoughts, but I have trouble kind of putting it together cohesively.
Yeah.
So sometimes also you'll come along and like put all my ideas together in a cohesive structure.
I think it helps when you have like an external person come in and just like rearrange your web into an outline.
Yeah, that is helpful. All right, and last thing we wanted to cover in this segment are goals for the next year. For
goals,
WOAF.
We gotta set goals.
Set those goals.
WOAF goals.
WOAF goals.
Woles.
All right, Kristin, what are your woles for the next year?
Okay. Well, I have many. Should I just start from the top?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the goals we wanted to start is a Patreon.
Yes.
And that would, and like the only reason why we want a Patreon would be to get some editing help so we can focus more on growing the podcast.
Yes, we really just need money to pay a sound editor, but the problem is, in order to start a Patreon, we need some content.
Yeah.
And in order to get that extra content on top of weekly episodes, we really would need a sound editor.
Yeah. So it's like,
but we can't pay a sound editor until we start the Patreon.
Right.
And isn't then that fun?
Yeah. And it's also it's not like we'll just pay them everyone. We want to like make sure the sound editor has like a fair pay, and also that we like develop a good relationship with the sound editor so that they know exactly what we expect and can see our vision with us. So it's like Yeah, that will be difficult, but that's a goal. It's a goal.
It's a goal.
But yeah, that would be, and so and I know there's been a couple people asking about a Patreon, and that's kind of like where we are on that one.
Yes, where we are soon-ish, hopefully going to start kind of putting that concept together. And then you guys would be able to join at whatever dollar amount you choose, and then you would get extra content from us. And isn't that exciting?
Oh.
But actually, a good poll question might be, what content would you like to see more of on the Patreon?
Yeah.
You know, because we want to give you guys content that you're like excited about, that you want to listen to, that you want like extra stuff from us. We want to make sure that it's kind of like what you guys, within reason. It's not going to be exactly what you want, so calm down.
I guess the question is like, how abstract do you want this content to be?
Yeah.
Do you want more Potter's potties, or do you want like, let's talk about stims more?
Yeah.
You know?
Because I'm thinking, I think making more weird content. Yeah. I'd like to go weirder on the Patreon.
But I think we could go 50-50.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think, what you're looking for. What would you like more of from us?
Yeah.
And what would you be willing to pay for?
Yeah.
Is the question.
And then, so another goal would be like an official web presence. So we have the Facebook group. We have an Instagram. We have a TikTok. You know what? I can't get back on the TikTok. Like, it logged me out and now I can't get back in. So that's another, adding it to the list of goals is to get back on TikTok.
All right. Well, maybe someone to help us with TikTok would be another goal for the year.
We need to hire
a social media person.
I was going to say a 15-year-old.
Oh, yeah. 15-year-old social media person.
So an official website would be really nice. And I have all these ideas for like stickers and shirts and merch and stuff and pens. Everybody get a pen.
Ooh,
now you're going to have a pen that says everybody get a pen on it. Fun.
Yes, we want to get some merch going.
Eventually, yeah. So just like kind of developing our whole group of things online.
Growing.
Yeah. And then for like episodes, I have so many episodes that I want to do. It's been hard to, I really strongly believe that, most of our episodes are done with like well-cited articles, either from a lot of stuff we get from Attitude Magazine, we get from Chad, we get from
Chad, the guy down the street, Chad.
Yeah.
he gives us a briefcase of articles each week. We say, thank you, Chad.
That's where we get all our information
from Chad. Why have we never made this joke before? It's so funny.
It's really funny. He's like, bro, you got to see the latest studies on ADHD and sleep. It's going to blow your brains.
And we're like, we trust you, Chad.
Yeah. In Chad, we trust. No, I think we both strongly believe that anything, I know now that we all have like small little computers that fit in our pockets, it's easy for misinformation to spread. And we both feel very strongly about making sure that our stuff is well researched and that we're not like spreading misinformation, because I think that's easy to do.
Yep.
But there are some deep dives that I would love to go into for new ADHD topics. And I think a lot of stuff I would like to go. One category I would like to go in is heavily on like the ADHD-adjacent, heavy on the adjacent, the comorbidities of ADHD, because I think it's important that we talk about other neurodivergencies, other disorders. Thank you. And some things I would love to cover is anxiety, depression. You wanted to cover PMDD.
Yep.
Maybe we'll cover autism at one point.
I was gonna say that.
I think that'd be really important to do that.
A deeper dive into autism.
Yep. Other things I would like to talk to is sleep habits, food, and exercise are big topics. So that's what I would like to do. But obviously all these topics need way more research. So hopefully kind of once we get a little bit more support, we can...
it's kind of all hinging on time and support.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of at this crux where like we want to do so much more, but yeah, it is hinging on like time. We only have so much time in our in the week and so much time in our that we're able to mentally and physically give to this podcast a week. And I think, Grace, you've been doing like the most of it, and I show up on Mondays.
You also do outside work, don't? Don't make it sound like you do nothing.
Best. I don't do nothing.
You do research, you do the episode outlines, you do a good amount of writing and structuring and figuring out what we're going to talk about.
I do feel like we're kind of on this, like, in order to grow our podcast, we need to do more content, but in order to need more content, we just need more time for like editing and, you know, it's hard.
Well, it's like my favorite Haley quote of, I'm just trying to make it through the day, not make plans.
Yeah.
It's like we've already kind of gotten this horse train up and running, and we've like more or less, it's like there might be a few places where it like stalls a little bit and you're like, whoa. But for the most part, I feel like we've gotten the horse train running and like well-oiled-ish. Mm-hmm. But now and that's just with all of our effort. And so to add in then more horses and more trains on top of that would be a lot. So it's like we're just trying to keep the horse train going how it is. But we need to bring on, I'm going to keep with this analogy, bring on maybe a new conductor.
Another engine.
Or a ticket checker maybe. Mm-hmm. And they can kind of
take coal.
Yeah, bring in more coal, maybe more coal shovelers.
Oh, yeah.
And that would give us a little more time and mental energy.
Maybe an engineer.
Ooh, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
And that would help us kind of be able to expand and do these other things that we want to keep growing and growing. But yeah, it kind of all hinges on, we need a little help, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. So hang in there.
I feel it coming.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, and then other goals for the next year. We talked about we really want to get some chapters down on Horse Train Meet Cute.
I want to write a Christmas album.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, folks. It's happening.
Yes, we are going to do a Christmas album. You're going to hate it. But that's okay because it's not for you, it's for us.
It's as is this podcast.
It's all for us.
It's all for us. And then lastly, one of our big goals is to get more guests on, and we can do, I think.
Well, that's another thing that kind of hinges on editing because it does take me a lot
longer to do the guest episodes. Yes. And it's a lot of coordination. I think, we had some guests drop out due to like COVID scares and just like time management. Believe it or not, it's hard to schedule people with ADHD. Including us. And so maybe with like other tools like, like online podcast host stuff, we can do that, or we can just have people in the pod loft. So
yeah, we're getting ourselves in a good position to be able to do hopefully more guest episodes coming up. But yeah, we got a lot that we want to do, and not a lot of time or brain power to do it. But it is something we want to do.
Yep. So
we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen. We'll figure it out.
We always make it happen. We always figure it out. I'm not worried about it. We got a nice long list of guests that want to come on the show.
Yes, we do.
That's not the problem.
It's not the problem of the guests. It's the problem of us scheduling and coordinating and the time.
Editing and all the work it'll take
to
edit 3 voices instead of 2.
Yep. So that's kind of our year in review. We've had many laughs, many tears.
But it's been a blast overall,
I would say as a whole, it's been positive.
Yeah, I love doing this podcast, and I plan to keep doing it.
Yeah,
for as long as we want.
Yep. Yeah. As soon as it stops becoming, that's what I keep saying. As soon as it stops becoming fun, then we're out.
Yeah, I can't imagine when that point will be. Yeah, but
it's been really fun so far. So, yep.
Maybe one day we'll just be all talked out and we'll have nothing left to say.
But that's never gonna happen. I'm gonna be like talking in my grave.
Oh yeah.
When I'm a tree, you're gonna hear me whisper, "Eat my apples." That's from a different episode. That's okay.
That's okay. All right, Kristin, as we
trotting into town. We're trotting into town on a train. Clip clop.
We're a horse, and we're on top of a train.
Horse train meet cute.
Look at us standing on top of that train. Yep. Get down from there, the conductor says. But we say no. This is our horse train.
We say nay.
I was right there. And obviously, when we say all that, that means that it's time for pizza secrets.
I feel like we haven't shared our own pizza secrets in a while.
Yeah, we're kind of not scraping the bottom of the barrel. I feel like we're scraping the bottom of the barrel a bit on top of like the pizza secrets that we remember that we haven't repressed, and B, the pizza secrets that aren't super shameful.
Yeah, well, and the pizza secrets that aren't straight up crimes.
Yeah, I have a few that I'm like, I can't talk. That's a crime.
Yep.
I was just committing a crime.
Yep.
I can't talk about that.
Yep.
At least not on here. Maybe the Patreon.
And this is a nice reminder, folks, that pizza secrets are not crimes. Crimes are crimes.
Crimes are crimes.
So if pizza secrets are little shitty things that you feel bad about, and it's cathartic to get them out of there. They're kind of funny.
But then, I could also go into a whole rant about what even are crimes, because if certain crimes the punishment is a fine, then it's not actually a moral
Very
crime.
true.
It's a price.
Very true.
Are you wealthy enough to commit this crime?
Biden just got rid of all federal charges for simple marijuana.
It's that's
he's trying.
He has a lot more power to do a lot more than that, and he's kind of like placating us right before elections.
Right before elections, because it's all about the vote. And it's not time to talk about this because we're talking about pizza secrets.
Yes, I just don't want to celebrate Biden too much for that because it feels like it's all a show.
Yeah, I know it's all a show. And he could have done it way earlier than this, but he's waiting.
And also it doesn't really release people from federal prison because people aren't in federal prison for that charge. Anyway, shall we do the Pizza Secrets song?
Yeah, I'm a little bummed about it now.
Sorry, I was too. But
Pizza secrets, tell me your secret. Can we do the real song?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because it makes me happier.
Okay.
Pizza secrets, tell me your secrets. Pizza secrets.
Pizza secret.
Nice.
Tell me a pizza secret.
My pizza secret is called it's more of like a title, but also a question.
Okay.
How important are labels when dating? Back in the day, I had a situationship with a man, kind of, a guy. And for about 6 months before he ghosted me forever, and I did not know his name.
You didn't know his name?
I didn't know what name he had.
You didn't know what name
I know how it was spelled, but I didn't know how to say it.
What?
That's bad, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, who's the asshole here? Someone who ghosts you after 6 months, or the person who didn't know your name to begin with?
Wait, why? Why? Why'd you only see it spelled?
I only saw it spelled because I was friends with him on Instagram.
Oh.
And then by the time I realized I didn't know how it was pronounced, I'm going to say his name.
Okay.
It's A-R-I-C. Is that Eric or Arik?
Arik, I would guess.
That's what I would guess too, but then I kept second guessing myself. It could be Eric.
But you didn't want to just go for it? I mean,
by the time I realized that I didn't know how it was pronounced properly, it was too late.
You're so callous about just mixing up people's names all the time.
Now I am, but then I had like a conscience.
Yeah. So what'd you do?
I always said hey, you.
Hey, cutie.
How was your day? Yeah. And then he ghosted me and I didn't feel as bad anymore.
You got away with it, right?
Got away with it. And you know what? Here's the best part. If we're telling terrible things about people, that was pre-COVID, and then this happened actually with a couple different people. It's a couple of different situationships I had. When COVID started, guess who got a slimy DM from an Eric/Arik saying, hey, I'm really sorry I ghosted you. This is a year after he ghosted me too. I'm sorry I ghosted you. I realized that was really wrong, and I really respect healthcare workers, and thanks for everything you did. Do you want to get together sometime? And I was like, no,
what
it's
the fuck?
COVID.
The audacity.
We're everybody's on lockdown. I am the most are you kidding me? I'm going to the COVID unit. Are you? That's I went to the. You don't want. I'm the one you need to protect yourself from. I just oh man, men are dumb
idiots.
So I don't really feel bad anymore about not knowing his name for 6 months. I'm pretty sure it was Arik, but it could have been Eric. You never know. It could have been
No one ever said his name.
No.
You should have taken him to a place where you have to have your name shouted out.
Oh, Starbucks.
Yeah,
I could have just Starbucks date. Yeah,
but whatever. Good for
Anyway, what's your pizza secret?
All right. My pizza secret is called "Don't Make Me Pull This Bus Over."
I like
and
this.
It's a embarrassing memory from middle school. We were going on I think it was another Spanish class trip.
Man, Spanish.
What's up with
was
me?
it to Tortilla Flats?
Yes, it literally was. It was to tortilla flats.
I have a pizza secret about one of our friends, but yeah, keep going.
Okay.
About tortilla flats, which is one of the only, at the time, like legitimate Mexican restaurants in Maine, right?
I don't know. Sure. All of my Spanish teachers up until high school were like white women.
Yep.
So I was never learning Spanish from anyone who actually just kind of grew up speaking Spanish. It was always just white women who like probably studied it in college.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we were going to tortilla flat.
Tortilla flats.
Tortilla flats. And
that's their song on their commercial, by the way.
Pretty lame, yeah.
If you didn't grow up in Portland, Maine.
Yeah, in
the 90s.
The early aughts.
The early aughts and 90s, yeah.
But we took a school bus there, and then we were coming back, and I was in the back, like towards the back of the bus, and there were a lot of seats that were empty. And for some reason, I don't know if someone was doing this with me, and then it was the thing where like they stopped and then I got in trouble. Mm-hmm. But I might have been doing it by myself.
Probably.
Where I was jumping from seat to seat, like across the aisle, because there was no one in the seat across from me, across the aisle on the bus. So I was like leaping across the aisle from seat to seat. And then the bus driver, he pulled over, or he like looked back in the mirror, saw me doing that, and he goes, "Hey, girl back there, don't make me pull this bus over. Stop jumping from seat to seat." And
like,
of course,
Frogger.
Everyone turned around and looked over at me, and it was really embarrassing, even though I was doing it already. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. I shouldn't have been embarrassed because I was making a scene. And I think I got detention. I think Mrs. Downs gave me detention when we got back to school because I had been doing that, and I was caught and shamed by the bus driver.
I have a bonus secret if we're talking about tortilla flats.
All right, make it real quick.
Real quick. So I went on that same field trip. I think I was in a different bus.
Yes.
I was with Haley, who has been on this show. So we get there and they hand us these little like wet naps called moist towelettes.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, even the towels are in Spanish, moisto toweletes." And she just read it wrong, but she shouted it and the whole class heard it. And I was like,
Haley.
I was like, Haley, it just says moist towelettes, like mini towels. Like just a small one, and she's so embarrassed. I'm sorry, Haley, for repeating this, but like
Haley has so many secrets
so
like that.
Funny
of like that exact scenario where she'll say something really loud, and then it gets really embarrassed.
It was just like thought and then words.
Impulsivity, right there.
It was so impulsive. Love her so much.
I do remember moisto towelettes.
Yeah, because we kept shouting it after, like, for the rest of high school.
Yeah, that was in like 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah, and we never let it down. And we never will, Haley, okay?
No, we'll never let it go.
Moisto,
down.
It was so cute, though.
Just like the bird seed. Let's have to save that one for another time.
Another one.
Haley has a lot of fun pizza secrets that I want to tell.
All right. Well, that was a bonus secret, and that's been our show.
Yeah.
Hope you liked our little, it was kind of a untraditional, against the grain episode.
Yeah, but in a podcast where nothing is traditional.
Very true.
Is it really untraditional, or is it just on brand?
Right on brand.
Yep.
The tradition is no tradition, and here we are.
Here we are.
But if you liked this episode or any of the other episodes that we have created.
Yeah, if you liked our past year of episodes.
Yeah.
Please, let us know.
Yeah, give us a nice review. Give us 5 stars only, because that's all we accept.
In honor of our anniversary, wouldn't that be a nice thing to do for us? Leave us a nice review.
That would be nice. I'd appreciate it.
I know I would.
If you are a cunt and want to leave us a 1-star review, you can, but you have to tell us why. That's the rule.
Yes.
That's the rule. This is the PEMDAS of leaving reviews. Yes. It's either 5 stars or 1 star with an explanation.
Yes. Thorough explanation. You got to write it out in the comment. Don't just leave the 1 star. Stand by your word. Have some conviction.
Have some balls.
Yeah.
So, that's the rule. And there's no exceptions. You can like and subscribe on wherever you get your podcast. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Stitcher.
Sure.
Whatever.
Wherever.
They're there. We're there.
Find us.
Give us a like.
Yeah. You can also follow us on Instagram at Weirds of a Feather. You can email us at weirdsofafeather@gmail.com.
We're kind of on TikTok, but I've gotten locked out.
Don't go there. It's a bad place. Don't go there. You can find our Facebook group, Weirds of a Feather, on Facebook, obviously. Come join. Get in on our little community chats. because they're fun and we got a lot of good
There's
stuff.
a lot of things going on Facebook.
A lot of banter. Facebook is a hellscape, but our group is a nice little spot.
It's a little oasis from the hell of Facebook.
Yes. So
there you go.
Come there just for us.
Yeah, and that's been it. You want to squawk us out, Grace?
Yeah, I really do.
Okay. Well, I like that one.
Yeah.
It was aggressive but necessary.
Thank you.
Oh.
I was going to say classic, but it kind of got a little away from you there.
Yeah. Mixed up at the end.
Yeah. A little confused bird.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I love that one.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Blue's Clues bird.
You love those.